How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about BBIG. It ended up having a pullback inside of the market, and many people are asking me, Dre, where do you see this play going? Do you see the downtrend continuing? Plus, on top of that, we do have some updates that I want to make sure I go over because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there and I want to clear things up. I did this in my previous video about the dividend, so let's continue. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for BBIG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $2.86, being down 7.14%. On the low, it tested $2.77, and then on the high, testing $3.09. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 25.753 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 117.491 million shares. So what we noticed, we had well below the average in regards to volume, and it's part of the reasons why we see weakness in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it's at 45.93. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, the 21-day EMA, and as well as the 50-day. So it is definitely looking fairly bearish for BBIG. And where we close, we're actually right around a support level here. We've talked about this in the past, right here around the 280 range. So what we want to see going into tomorrow, will it hold up? There is a possibility where we could pull back. We ended up seeing a low of 277. So don't be surprised if we pull back all the way back down to the 250 areas. This is just one thing you're going to want to keep in mind, and then you're going to want to see if there's demand, see if there's buying pressure. For now, we're just dealing with a lot of selling pressure. Of course, for a bullish reversal, we want to see it actually get back above $2 to $3 level, most preferably at the 21-day EMA at $3.18, and then seeing where we could go from there until hitting some resistance right here around this 350, which will be a key area we need to get past. But for the most part, it'll be very interesting to see what it does, but don't be shocked if we start testing into the 250s if we have weakness inside of the markets, and we're also seeing a decline in overall volume. So now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for BBIG. So for the dark pool short volume ratio, it's at 60.43%. And then for the dark pool short volume, it is just over 24.79 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 50,000, updated 12 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it's at 83.46%. So it's still up there. And then when we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 25th, it was at 32.81, and then for the close of the 26th being at 60.43, so almost doubled. So what does this tell us? BBIG does continue to have short squeeze potential, and the moment we get some more volume and buying pressure coming into the stock, this is where we can look forward to seeing those moves to the upside. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for BBIG. So we see here on the inflow, it's at 11.57, and then on the outflow, it's at 13.91. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0.48. On the medium, it was 7.36. And then on the small, it was 3.73. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0.23. On the medium, it was 9.13. And then on the small, it was 4.55. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, we could see for January the 27th, which is today, it was at 0.26 million. And we also did see on January 26th, it was at 0.41 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had a little bit more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 18.91%. So again, not as high as what we have been seeing in the past. We are seeing it actually go down lower. But do keep in mind, we have been having lower volume than usual. And this is part of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of pressure on the stock. So we need to have some more buying coming in. And that's just one thing to be aware of, because we know shorts are going to be laughing. They're going to be taking advantage of the fact that we have low volume, because they know as far as for the market conditions, there is going to be selling pressure on top of that. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for BBIG, let's go over the recent press release that came out today. This is in regards to the filing that they filed some days ago. So let's get it. So Vinco Ventures has entered into a definitive agreement. Vinco Ventures has entered into a definitive agreement for a debt and common equity raise of $42 million. Vinco Ventures unit TYDE to sell secured convertible senior notes of $33.3 million to institutional investors for $30 million. Vinco Ventures unit TYDE has also entered into an agreement with institutional investor to sell 1.5 million shares of common stock of $8 per share. So to sum this up very quickly, they're pretty much going out to institutional investors to raise capital for TYDE. And as well as for the investor like you, here's what's going to happen. So for every 10 shares that you have a BBIG, then you are eligible for the special dividend or the spinoff, which will give you 1 share of TYDE. I'll say that again. 10 shares of BBIG will get you 1 share of TYDE. You still hold on and you still have ownership of your BBIG shares. You do not lose them. Now, let's talk about the price action. So what I was saying, if we continue to have weakness inside the market and we pull back, then we want to see some strength at the $2.50 level. We ended up getting to a low of $2.77. So this is why it is very crucial that we gain that momentum. And I feel if we have some more buying happening inside of the tech sector, BBIG could benefit from this. I saw when Apple released their earnings, they made a quick jump going to $2.90 in the after hours. So this is why I say, if we can get back to that $3 level, then we might have some buyers coming into the stock. But the one thing that's very important, we need to have more volume. The volume has died down quite a bit, and that needs to pick back up. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential, still continues to have high borrow fees as well. So this is why you want to make sure you keep this play on your radar, because like I always say, the moment you have more people buying into the stock and so forth, this is where we see those moves to the upside. And especially once we get that record date, I think that's going to be a game changer in my personal opinion. So do your homework, do your due diligence before you actually jump into this play, and make sure you got your entry and your exit together, because I want to make sure that you're seeing success inside of the markets and you're using the right risk management. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.